So I'd like to talk about when Comet Shoemaker-Levy crashed into Jupiter in July 1994. Now, you'll remember 1994 was a very exciting year in South Africa because we had our first democratic elections. And then we heard about this comet heading for Jupiter. And there was lots of speculation, people asking, are we going to see anything? Or will it just happen without us knowing anything? But it was a very historical event because it was the first time in history that astronomers would see two or more solar system bodies collide. It had never been seen before. The comet wasn't just one piece. It was made up of 21 pieces, and it was called the String of Pearls. And this is a beautiful picture, Hubble Space Telescope image taken in March 1994. So this comet was probably captured by Jupiter 20 to 30 years earlier. And a close encounter with Jupiter in 1992 caused it to break up into fragments, and so that's why it was called a disrupted comet. And the fragments varied from hundreds of meters in diameter to the biggest were 2 kilometers in diameter. And I think the reason why it broke up was because it passed within Jupiter's Roche limit, which has got to do with the gravity holding objects together and so on, but I won't go into that. And so it was torn apart by Jupiter's tidal waves. It was discovered by Carolyn Shoemaker, her husband Jean, and David Levy on March 24th, 1993, in a photograph taken with a 46 centimeter Schmidt telescope at the Palomar Observatory in California. And it's called, the proper name of it is Shoemaker-Levy 9. And the reason for that is it's the 9th periodic comet that team had discovered. They had discovered 2 non-periodic comets, but those they have different nomenclature systems, so they've named differently. And it was a serendipitous, yeah, battle with that word, serendipitous discovery, which means that it was by chance and very fortunate, because they were actually working on a near-Earth objects program, looking for objects that were approaching us that could, be dangerous, crashing into the Earth and so on. But of course, this comet, because it was in Jupiter's orbit and approaching Jupiter, quickly overshadowed their main observing program. And fragments crashed into Jupiter's southern hemisphere between the 16th and 22nd of July 1994 at a speed estimated to be about 60 kilometers per second. And the scars were in fact more prominent than the red spot, and they persisted for several months. David Levy was a Canadian astronomer and science writer. He wrote for Sky Telescope and currently writes for Astronomy magazine. And he met the Shoemakers in 1998, and he has discovered more than 20 comets. Carolyn Shoemaker was an American, or is an American astronomer, and she's an expert in identifying comets, and she married Jean in 1951. And by 1994, she had discovered 32 comets, more than anyone alive at the time. Jean was born in 1928 in California, and he was tragically killed in Australia in 1997. he and Carolyn were in the Australian desert studying impact craters, and they had a car accident and he was killed. And so he's a geologist and then became an astrogeologist with an interest in non-earthly geology. And he's an expert in impact craters. And if any of you have gone to the Swang impact crater, it's about 40 kilometers northwest of Pretoria, there's a plaque in honor of Dr. Shoemaker. And I saw that plaque. Now, there was this great excitement about this crash into Jupiter because it had never happened in the solar system before, or never been observed before, should I say. And so initially it was a possibility of the collision, which later became a certainty. So scientists knew for a fact that there was going to be a collision, but they didn't know what was going to happen. Would the fragments just be swallowed up, or would they in fact cause major damage to Jupiter that could be seen? So there was huge interest, a lot of media interest, and there are telescopes all over the world looking at this. And also space observatories, Hubble Space Telescope, the Rosette X-ray observing satellite, Galileo, which was scheduled for a rendezvous with Jupiter the next year. And there were other space probes as well, Ulysses, which was a solar, interested in studying the sun, and Voyager 2, which was 44 astronomical units from Jupiter. It was already leaving the solar system. So all of these spacecraft could observe the event. And we didn't see the impacts in real time. They actually happened on the other side of Jupiter, which Galileo saw, but because Jupiter is rotating so rapidly, we could see them on Earth shortly afterwards. This is a lovely composite photograph by NASA ESA Hubble Space Telescope of the comet fragments approaching Jupiter. And you can see there's a shadow there of one of the moons. Now, the reason why this means so much to me is that I was one of the people that observed this event. And that observatory, if I look out the window now, it's still standing on the roof. So I'm still in the same house that I observed this event, what was it, 26 years ago. And so my dad, Dominic Toldo, who was a member of the Astronomical Society, and myself, we were in my dad's telescope, and I remember it was also a very cold evening, and Dominic was looking through the eyepiece at the moment, and he said, "There, you can see a dark smudge on Jupiter." And my dad was skeptical. He said, "No, we wouldn't be able to see it." But anyway, sure enough, I had a look, and you could see it quite clearly. And it was one of the most exciting times of my life. To see something like that happen is just unbelievable. Here's some pictures of the scars in Jupiter. And anyway, I just wanted to end off by saying that, dynamic events like this, solar eclipse, a supernova, stars brightening suddenly like Betelgeuse recently, storms on Jupiter like Cloud Spot, they make astronomy a really exciting science. It's not all about history. It's stuff happening right now that we can watch. And Comet Shoemaker-Levy crashing into Jupiter was one of the most significant events in my life. And I'm very grateful to have experienced the event. Thank you.